open it up to anybody who has questions. Yeah.
Judy, I was just wondering and listening to you about the act of stitching and what you felt it was, front and back and in the middle. And I was wondering if you felt that your state of being changed, like if it became a meditative state, or how you would describe it, from beginning to, let's say, the hours on end that you stitch and you work on a piece, if you actually notice yourself spiritually and physically and mentally changing through the process and the act of working on your artwork.
Yeah, absolutely, Kathy. Yeah. And so I was feeling a little bit guilty because I would go to this huge quilt that I was making and go into that state because it took a long time to do the hand stitching. And I'm just going into this dreamy, meditative, and I won't even say I solved any problems. I just went into this very peaceful place, and maybe that's another reason why I'm not going to give up quilting, because it's so nourishing for me. It's an act of self-love for me, and to do this. Yeah. And I do feel kind of spiritual too. Like I'm floating, kind of. Even though I quilt in a hoop. I don't quilt out a big frame or anything. I have a hoop. I can go outside with it. I can go on my deck. I can take it to the sandbox when the kids were little.
Any other questions or comments? Thoughts?
Well, Judy, I love seeing your exhibit here, and when you're talking about like, oh, why, what does this do? I think there was like a really good sense of comfort in seeing your work and the kind of detail and care to it. And you obviously have pieces that you spend years on, and you like recycle other pieces in it. And I'm wondering, at which point do you decide, oh, this piece is done, or like, or like I want to display this piece, or is there like a?
That's a good question too, because I don't think it's a bad thing to say it's not ever done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, right now those pieces are finished in my mind, but I'm not promising that they won't change, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's an artist named Lawrence Carroll, and he makes things that stick out from the wall. And then the next exhibit, they'll be different. You know, he doesn't mind. And me too. Mm-hmm. I don't mind having my work change. Yeah. But there is a point when somebody buys it. That's
But before I straight, I think that's really interesting to me, that the way that you think about the work, having an ongoing life, not just in that the viewer seeing it and we take it into our own lives, but that the pieces aren't static, that they do continue, and you do work into them until they're sold and somebody's got them on a wall. But because when I think about that is when I'm writing, we tend to think of as poetry or something on the text as being finished as well, and I resist that finishing because like I try. It's difficult for me to say once it's in a book and published, it's done. But I see your work, and I see my work too, it's a long conversation. So your work, I must say, is every piece is a poem in a much longer collection, and it's not finished. And this idea of things being finished is troubling for me. I think it's limiting.
But you know, Ben Cohen, he kept revising his work, and I think I read somewhere that his best work was his archive of all the various states that the poems had gone through. So, Leonard.
You spoke a few minutes ago about the middle.
Yeah.
And you have the front and the back, and then they all meet a middle. Do you ever focus on what is in the middle, or make it special?
Yes, there is one here that I did. I put a red piece of wool in the middle of longing cloth, where it's bordered up. It's forward, yeah. Okay, coming up to the layers. These are the layers. Okay. I could just tell you what these are as we go back to this one, that one. Okay. That's the back of longing cloth, which is the next slide. And you can see how I had I think it's probably hard to see because of the glare, but there's a red piece of wool in the middle. And I revealed it by cutting away pieces of the back. So you could see that, and the red, like you told me, the red is the inside of the body. This is the one that is most like what you're talking about in my work. Yeah, I really like this piece, and this is the other side of it. And that's indigo velvet. It chose to use velvet because it's so sensuous. And the title of this piece is Longing Cloth, because of my work, I want to communicate about emotions, and so I think one of the most powerful emotions humans have is this yearning to love and be loved. So this is a piece of that.
So when you describe your piece after it's done, do you let the viewer or the admirer know that there's something special about the middle, or are they just supposed to understand that the red is the middle and deal with it from that perspective?
You mean to write a big long statement about
Well,
it?
or tell somebody if they were interested in that piece, say, well, pay attention to the middle because this is made from that, or this is what it means. Like,
Well, I think it's obvious for this one that the middle is red. But I don't know maybe if I put up red ones and reveal them in any other ones. I use wool batting the most.
Yeah.
Because it's really light, and silk batting. They're really easy to stitch through. But other than that, I don't put feathers in the middle or tin foil in the middle. If I did, I would let you know.
Okay, we're good, but so we'll go to you.
A continuation of that is when you start a project, you start with what the ideas you're trying to show or how a person responds to it as your driving force.
I mean, how my audience responds to it?
Well, either
Or I
is it
respond.
both, either or.
Okay, this is a good question, because I think it depends on, like I have this journal and I have an idea, and I have it in the next journal, and I have it in the next. Finally, I go to my design wall and start that idea. So that particular quilt started with an idea. But just as often, I'll just start with the materials. Because maybe I picked one up, or maybe somebody gave me one, and I'll start with the materials. But both of those things then change with how I respond to them. Whether I stay with the original idea from the sketchbook, or stay with what my impulse was. Like the bundles that are in the show, that are all wrapped on the stands. Some of them are made from a quilt that I changed my mind about. The white ones with the crosses, I decided to abandon that piece and wrap the bundles. And as far as my audience responding, it used to be more important to me that my audience would go into this dream world when they saw my work. But now it's more important to me that my audience feels cared for. So I have turned a page from thinking about I can affect the way they think into just letting them know I love them. So it's a different kind of, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but it's something to say.
Evolution.
Yeah, I absolutely. Sophie said to me, you have made a long, lifelong suite of poems. And I thought it was so beautiful. And yeah, so early work, and now I'm in my late work. I think I'm working on this idea of care, which you picked up on, and you picked up on because you said you felt comforted by the work. So that's my main thing I want to have. So thanks for that.
There was a hand back there and then
Yeah. Hi, Judy. The question really speaks to, do you think it matters that anybody understands your process or your words when they look at your art? This goes back to the idea of, I see a chair and it's comfortable and I sit in it. when I do that, I just react to the visceral experience, haptic, whatever, of the chair. The process is not anywhere in my head or in my mind. I don't care. It's like walking up to Jackson Pollock painting or something that's going to blow your mind away. Your first response is totally experiential, visceral.
That's right.
And today, we have a didactic dimension that's going with everything.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden, there's no reliance on that initial response. And let's say visceral, because it hits you like this.
Right.
When you walk up to a powerful piece of work, or you hear music, you walk into a chapel, there is a snap of energy.
A shock of recognition.
That's right.
That's
And
what I
it's,
said.
there are people that have talked about convergence of those things. So when you're, and it seems like you've moved to the point where I just put it up, and it is what it is, and you want it.
That's right. Yeah, that's
And
my late work.
Yeah. I think that that's what I see in your work, and even the way you talk about it is really good. And I wondered how you think about that now, and it's pretty clear that you do.
I love that idea, and I totally agree with it. I want my work to just work.
Well, there are other things that happen in your work too. You talk about blankets, and then you talk about quilts. And your quilts, I think again of Jackson Pollock, because he took the painting and put it on the floor, changed the experience, and then put it back. You've taken a blanket, a horizontal thing, and you've made it into a vertical experience. It's a big move to do that. So you're like Jackson Pollock.
I really think that is the best kind of art. Art that you don't have to worry about, like having a didactic thing when you say on the wall, she thinks this is about this, and her whole statement. As Louise Bourgeois said, if I have to explain my work, then I have failed. It should touch you.
Sure. Well, it's like the great New York art critic said, if you ask an artist what he's doing while he's painting, he's not in the painting. You're not in the painting. And when you're doing your quilt work, you're basically not thinking. I don't think. You're just crafting your painting.
Yeah, that's right.
Good.
I'll come back to you in a second.
In this particular work,
He's just so everybody back can hear you.
in this particular work, what is the relationship of the front to the back?
And do you mean in the show?
In this particular.
Oh, in this piece? Oh, in this
Yeah.
piece.
Well, for size, this is as tall as, want to stand up, Ben? And so this is one side, and it's very lush and velvety, and those are little velvet dots there. So you want to pet it. And the other side is this earthy, greeny side. It's wool. And they were a piece, they were just layered on these layers of wool. And then when I got most of it stitched, I started cutting it away. So I don't really know what your question is, because to me it's, there's the front and there's the back, and they were stitched. Yeah.
I guess I'm one of those people that doesn't understand
Okay.
and is asking, I'm not sure, like I understand the front, I'm not sure I understand the back and the relationship.
Oh.
I think we.
Well, maybe the circle at the bottom. Yeah. I don't know.
I think because we're so used to thinking, like we said earlier, a lot of times when we see quilts, they're framed or they're hung against the wall. We don't think about the back, and the quilters aren't necessarily quilting. The stitch goes through, but they're not thinking about the back as well. So Judy's thinking, I'm using it's like the whole body. There's the back and the front, so it's a whole. So there's a design element on the back as well, and sometimes in the middle. So that they can be, you can look at them on both sides. So it's a full piece, almost like a sculpture. The way a sculpture is dimensional and has.
This one
all
was
sides.
it only showed once at David Kay's show in Toronto, and he hung it so that you could see both sides, and it was really nice. And he sold it right away to one of his favorite collectors in the States. So I don't know, I have her name written down, so she really liked it. So anyway, not that I had to tell you that, but I don't have it anymore, and I would love to have it still. I really love this piece.
So the two, can you get them over to the show yet? So there's two large quilts that are on this through the center, and those are two good examples. So one of them, if you look on the back side, you'll see what it looks like so the stitching comes through. And so you can see the two sides. The other one actually has two titles, and they're not too different. They're the same quilt, but they look different, both sides. So have a look at those because it shows the two two of the ways that she approaches front and back.
And I appreciate that, seeing it in a slide.
Yeah.
It's not the same as seeing it.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're not going to get the same impact.
No, I think Sophie's right. We do think about art as being paintings, and we don't worry about the back. Even with quilts, we generally don't worry about the back. But I am treating them more like sculptures, objects that you can see all the sides of, and the inside too sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I just think. And then a little secret time. Last question.
Judy, I wondered if you could mention a few quilters or fiber artists or teachers that you studied with that you felt really influenced your way of creating art and why? Just a couple.
What, you already know?
Well, I'm just trying to think.
It's like asking some of your favorite books.
No, I haven't really studied with very many textile artists. I'm mostly self-taught. I've studied with painters and I have 2 university degrees. But the one I did through England was majoring in embroidery, but it was distance. So I really did like some of those teachers very much. Kay Swancutt was over there in England, and another lady named Joan Livingstone, not the same one that you know, but another one, and she was very good for me. I don't think I have really good teachers here, but I have friends who are like Anna Torma and Dorothy Caldwell. I'm inspired by their work, but they haven't really, well, I guess I took a workshop with Dorothy one time. Yeah, I don't know if I can, sorry, can you say something?
That you read art history almost every day.
I read about a lot of artists and textile artists
And
too.
you wrote about Rothko and Agnes Martin.
Yeah,
And I think like those are
yeah. Yeah,
like
Agnes
she's
Martin.
about all the time, yeah.
Thank you. But I didn't actually meet them. They didn't actually teach me.
No, but I think
they
they
did
do teach you in
they
this
did, yeah.
serene, isolated place that you talk about all the
See,
time.
the mentorship in action. Well, it's after 2. As you can see, we could talk for a really long time. We'll have to leave it there. Really, thank you for being so engaged and yeah, pinch this.
I wanted to tell you about my work being on this cover of this very important poetry magazine in Canada. And they approached me and asked me if I would be their poet for the summer, or their visual person. And so I'm on the cover, and I'm on the back cover, and there's a little bit of, there's 8 pages of my work in the middle. You know, some of the pieces are in the show. And so Tad has them in the gift store right next door. They're $10. And if you want me to sign it, I'll sign it today. I'm taking them home with me. I'm not going to leave them at the gallery unless the gallery wants them. But I just want you to know about it because I know you want to love my work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.